Are there any mistakes that are common mistakes that you're seeing founders make when fundraising?
Yeah, so on the fundraising side, I see it's not a mistake because I don't want to be too harsh on folks because it's human nature, but you, again, like I mentioned, marketplaces are really hard to solve, to build and to solve. You're gonna face a lot of challenges, and what I see founders try to explain things and make excuses for challenges that I face, that's like a pretty big red flag. Um, I don't think you should. I don't, you're gonna face problems and you're gonna have to like go around them. But anytime you try to excuse something as like, hey, this was out of my control or this happened, that's just a bad sign to investors. I'm not saying that, like I said, it's not going to be a straight, clear line. A good marketplace investor is not going to look for that straight curve, but trying to be like, hey, X happened and that's why, we didn't see Y. That's not a great way to frame it. I think there's ways to be like, X happened, we realized it, and then we're going to change directions to get Y, or hey, we lost focus, we messed up here, but here's how we're going to prevent that from happening in the future. That's okay too. Again, I'm not saying this for all investors because again, some folks may not see it that way, but I like explanations and realizations better than excuses or like ways to put the blame and onus on something else other than yourself.
Give me a great kind of tips to avoid here for founders.
I was going to add one other thing, Mike. The other thing that I think people potentially get wrong is and this is related to fundraising, but also just you as founders in general is and this is where I'll go against YC. So YC says like you should be cockroaches and you should not die. Um, I'm guilty of this as well. I like took this to heart and said, okay, if I can just stay alive, I'm gonna win. I would say that that's true sometimes, but for every like Airbnb story, that's an exception to the rule. There's like a ton of companies that actually just stayed around for too long. So I think a founder's best ability and what I like to see in some pitches is I realized I was doing something. It didn't have product market fit. I was kind of fooling myself into thinking that there's product market fit and staying alive. But I realized that that was wrong. And so I'm going to change directions. And this gets back to sort of why I like pivots is that it takes a lot to just as much resilience as it takes to staying alive and like doing something over and over. It also takes that much resilience to go, I am wrong and I should do something different. Sorry to cut you off, Mike, but I thought that needed to be said.